What's up, Central Illinois? You know what you all need? Y'all need some CIBL podcast swag. And thanks to our newest sponsor, Jedco Sales, you can now find our swag at CIBLmerch.com. You can find t-shirts, sweatshirts, polos, hats, and more, all classically adorned with our famous CIBL podcast logo. If you want to represent and support your favorite podcast, check out CIBLmerch.com. That's CIBLmerch.com. If you like our store, you can also build your very own business swag store with the help of Jedco Sales in Effingham, Illinois. Jedco is owned by previous CIBL guests, Andrew and Laren Dial. They've set up a special discount offer for CIBL guests and listeners to set up your very own custom branded swag store. You can now offer branded apparel to your employees, customers, and fans, and Jedco will fulfill all the orders for you. Contact Jedco at sales@jedcosales.com. That's sales@JEDCO sales.com, and tell them that Garrett and Derek sent you. Let Jedco help you get noticed.
Welcome to the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, where business owners, thought leaders, and community champions from across Central Illinois come to share their story. The Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. Anything less would be uncivilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? I'm Derek Hayden. I'm here with Garrett Ulmer. We are your hosts for the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, powered by Zambu. Zambu is a delicious grapefruit or wildberry vodka-based spirit infused with a Brazilian buzz button. It's smooth, tasty, and leaves you with a signature tingle. Learn more at ZambuLiquors.com. Zambu, taste the tingle. All right, Central Illinois. Today's guest is the founder and president of Bruder Tank in Sullivan, Illinois. Ladies and gents, please welcome Josh Bernius. How you doing, Josh?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Gotcha. Well, we keep saying we need to get an applause button, but we'll just say it broke for today. How about that?
Yeah. It probably, you need like a half of an applause button for me.
You get one guy in the background going, woo.
Yeah. That's enough. Or like the mom clap, there's just one there.
Yeah.
Clapping, the half clap. Yeah.
Oh,
nice. Well, I usually have a pretty good run at getting through the intros. I feel like the past 5 I've done, I've messed up at some point, but
yeah,
we're not going to go back and fix it.
Yeah.
So we're just going to keep
well,
it authentic.
The vodka thing, you got that down.
There
exactly.
you go.
I've done that enough times.
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect. Well, Josh, we appreciate you joining us today, and we're looking forward to hearing your story. But before we do, Josh, I'm going to kick it to Garrett, and he's going to take you through our speed round questions.
Okay.
Yep. We've got 6 of the toughest questions you're probably ever going to hear in your life, but I think that you'll probably do pretty well with it. So We'll kick it off and go. The first concert that you ever attended.
Oh, Garth Brooks.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see him. Favorite movie?
Honestly, it's a tie, I think, and it would be between American Gangster and Moneyball.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
I drive my wife crazy when Moneyball is on. I cannot turn it off.
That's a movie that no matter how many times it's on, I always watch it. Yeah.
I know, and I feel like about a year ago it was on FX like every Saturday.
Yeah.
Jamie, my wife would she's like, "Would you please just turn that movie off? You're obsessed." So I get it. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Lemon.
Lemon. Nice. Nice. iPhone or Android?
iPhone. Definitely.
Favorite social media platform?
I'm kind of old school when it comes to that. I really don't have a ton of use for them. I don't have time for them. Fortunately for me, my business, we don't really have to do a lot on social media.
Sure.
I would probably say LinkedIn, because I do have a LinkedIn account just because I think you have to, or you're supposed to, so I have that, but I don't ever use it. And so I'm kind of old school. I just, handshake and face-to-face goes a long way with me.
No, I understand. Last but not least, why Central Illinois?
Well, it's home, right? We've got a big family. I've got 4 brothers and sisters. We're close. Everybody, lives within 15 miles of each other. So I don't know. Growing up, I just it wasn't really an option to go anywhere else. This is where family was. So this is
sure.
So yeah.
Hey, great answer.
Yep, that's good. Well, you got through them pretty good, Josh, without having too much preparation. So
absolutely.
Well, what we'll do now, Josh, if you can just take the microphone, tell us about your story, take us back as far as you'd like, and just bring us up to speed with what you're doing today and anything in between that you want to share.
Sure. So Bruder Tank, we manufacture truck tanks for a variety of industries, waste collection, fuel, refined fuel, aviation fuel, chemical, ag. If it's a tank that mounts on a truck, water, we'll build those too. So how that got started is really kind of an accident, but my brother and I also own a fabrication shop, and we had got a contract to do a big conduit bridge, and we needed a facility to sandblast and paint this conduit bridge. So a neighboring facility to where we're at, and our original facility is in like the armpit of Sullivan, Illinois. I don't know if you guys knew that Sullivan had an armpit, but
I wasn't aware.
It does, and that's where our facility is. So we bought this old, my brother and I bought this old culvert factory. Buildings were, 70 plus years old. I used to throw rocks through the windows when I was a kid. That's a true story, because they've been sitting empty since the 80s.
Yeah.
So we bought them. We did this, did the contract for this big conduit bridge, got it done. And then our banker says, hey, I got a guy that is a customer that is looking to rent some space, and he builds tanks. So started renting some space to this guy building tanks. And we got some equipment, and things kind of progressed, and we built a business relationship and wound up going into business with him. A couple of years down the road, that was, we all decided that wasn't necessarily working out the greatest. So we were all going to go our separate ways. So I took, my brother and I took over ownership of the business in full ownership of the business in 17. I took over management in 18. And then in 2019, I took over full ownership. My wife and I bought my brother out. So in 2018, I think we had 4 employees. We've got 85 today.
Wow.
So it's really, really taken off. That's kind of our story. We continue to add customers. We got kind of a countrywide, network. We ship them every day from Miami to Washington State and everywhere in between. So got a pretty good dealer network. We've been really fortunate in Sullivan to, there's other tank plants around, obviously with Mid-State Tank. They're a great company. Used to be Progress Tank in Arthur before that was bought and moved. We've been fortunate to have an area that is pretty saturated with tank builders. Either they were a tank builder, their uncle was a tank builder, their granddad, or so we've been fortunate to be able to bring on a lot of good guys really fast. We got a really, really good team. I've been in the tank business now for 4 years or 5 years, and I would say I'm probably the least experienced when it comes to tanks from anybody in my team. We just got a really, really good group of guys. So been very fortunate.
Nice.
Awesome. So for the people listening, just to, I guess, give them a visual of, these tanks, these are tanks that are like sitting on the back of semi trucks, right? You see the gas tanks it's the shiny cylinder looking tanks sitting on the back of semis is what you're making. Okay.
That's
cool.
right.
Cool. So you have 85 employees, grew from, you said 4 or 6 employees prior to that when you started. So, what's been the biggest hurdle as far as growing your employee workforce? Is that a lot of times that seems challenging for many people. So tell us a little bit about your experience.
Yeah. I mean, it's a challenge, just like anything else. But with the right amount of diligence and just so we're kind of old school when it comes to that too. I still interview it and hire every employee that comes in here.
Great.
My wife takes care of all the HR, but every guy that comes through here shakes my hand, and I let him know what my expectations are, and get a feel for what he is and what he's looking for. And definitely not foolproof. I make some mistakes, but we don't have a ton of turnover. So yeah, it's challenging having 85 employees anywhere in any field.
Sure.
is challenging. I would say, for the most part, what we look for is good small town farm kids that want to work and try to make a good living, in their hometown. And we've been fortunate enough to find a good amount of those guys. So.
Yeah. Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. So
Nope, go ahead.
Do it, Garrett. Okay, I'll go. When you're making a tank and you've got obviously a lot of employees, what are these employees doing as part of the tank manufacturing process? What all roles are you hiring for within Bruder Tank?
So, out of the 85, probably 55 to 60 are what we call tank builders. And they do everything from start to finish. So they're in mostly two-man pods. We do have some one-man bays, but there's a shell rolled in another department. There's a ton of small parts made in the parts department, and all that stuff is brought in crates to the guys in the bays, and they start it from start to finish. So it's raw material when it comes to them, and when it leaves them to go to the test bay, it's done. So we've not adopted the Henry Ford style of in any kind of production line. With welders, it seems like it's important for them to buy into the quality, and when they start it, they want to finish it. They want to get done and know that they did that from start to finish. So we've kind of steered away from any kind of production line, just so we don't lose that. So majority of what we hire for is tank builders. But as we've grown and the business has scaled, we have QC guys, we have parts guys, we have safety guys, we engineering, sales, the whole gamut that you start, all these departments that you start developing as your business continues to scale.
Cool. Great. And what kind of area do you typically cover as far as your sales? Is it just centralized? Is it nationwide, worldwide?
So it's nationwide for the most part. We do send a lot of tanks to Canada.
Okay.
So we've got that going. We send, I don't want to say a lot, but we send tanks to South America. We sent tanks to Australia. We just finished up last year. We finished up a good sized government job, and all those tanks went to Dubai.
Wow.
We send them all over, but our core business is nationwide.
Okay.
We send a ton down to Florida, ton to Kansas City. They go everywhere.
Yeah, wow. Kansas City has to hold all that barbecue sauce. They
got
a new place to put it. You mentioned in your speed round questions that you're not a big social media guy. Your business doesn't really utilize social media for sales purposes a ton. Right. So what does the sales process look like? Is it mainly people reaching out to you, or are there a select number of people that you sell to?
So we've got a distribution network, and those distributors are tank truck builders.
Okay.
And it's a niche market, but it's a big niche market.
Yeah.
And unless you're in that business, you'd never dream of it. Being from Central Illinois, I would have never thought that I could build 1,000 tank trucks in a year and ship them all over and still have people screaming because I can't get them enough.
Yeah.
So, our customers are tank truck builders, and their two main components are trucks and tanks.
Thanks.
So, really what's important for us is to go out and meet those guys. Most of them are good old boys, or they used to be. And you shake their hand and tell them you're going to give them a good product at a fair price, and you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And just like anything with if you're a business owner or a business manager and you rely on a supply, if that supply is easy and consistent and priced right, you're not going to shop anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been able to do that and secure a lot of really good distributors, one at a time. I mean, our philosophy early on was we went in begging for crumbs and kind of earned our stripes building the crumbs, the small tanks that nobody else wanted to build, and then now we're building 10,000 gallon aviation refuelers that sit at LaGuardia Airport all day long, filling up the planes before they. So it's the sales process is really pretty easy. We do have I've got a guy here who's got 40 years experience. He's my sales manager. He's been in the tank business longer than I've been alive, and he knows everybody and all four corners. So the second that I have more available capacity, all I have to do is ask Gene to go fill it, and it's filled by the end of the day. So
make a couple calls and they're gone.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, great. I tell you, Derek talked a little bit about it. You said you started off with 4 employees and you've grown to nearly 90 at this point. You know, for a lot of business owners, one of the common questions things that we hear are they want to be involved in all the processes. It seems like you're still involved. You said you're still involved with the hiring and things of that nature. Has it been hard along the way to maybe let some of those processes go and to hand things off, starting it with 4 employees?
Yeah. So, and even up until as recently as, maybe 18 months ago, we didn't have much supervision. I didn't have a plant manager. I was doing most of that, myself. And it's really until you start catching yourself dropping balls where you got to say, it's time to hand some of this stuff over. And I've got a sign by my computer I look at every day: work on the business, not in the business.
Yeah.
And it's tough, but what's greater than actually working, doing the day-to-day stuff is actually watching your team do it for you and watching them come up with the ideas and grow the business. You bring somebody in and give them the tools to do the job and then watch them do it. That's almost as rewarding as doing it yourself. So
yeah, for sure.
Yep. So you and your brother's fabrication business, B&B Fabrications.
Yeah.
So that's still around. That's still a thing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that side of the business.
Yeah. So that's a kind of a unique thing that we did. So I came up in a company called R&R General Contractors.
Mm-hmm.
I started working there when I was 19, and I'm still a part of that business, kind of operations manager, but offsite, not really hands-on, more of a advisory type of role at this point. But grew up really inside that business, and when I left there full time, I think I had 260 guys that reported to me over quite a few different sites, and we did a lot of work in local grain facilities. And a lot of these contracting companies, similar to R&R, didn't have outside fabrication resources. And a lot of jobs, you can avoid paying prevailing wage on certain jobs by fabricating things offsite. So a lot of piping, steel, things like that, process pipe, you fab it offsite and you can do it for less. So we were able to get some exclusive supplier agreements with some contractors, and would fabricate a lot of their steel, custom guarding, spouting, ductwork, process pipe. We do that offsite and then deliver it to them, at whatever facility they're working at. So That's one of those businesses. It's really cyclical. It can be, we can have 10 guys working down there, or we can have 2. It's just, that's kind of how that business goes. So,
yeah. Well, that's just a kind of an example of, we hear it a lot from people we interview, is you find an issue and you provide a solution for it. You identify something that can be fixed with something that you can fix it with, and now you got a business.
Yep.
And I think that's where a lot of people, when they're, especially people starting a business, they have an idea, but they don't really know what problem they're fixing. They just think, oh, I can do this cool, new thing. But is it really a problem that people are wanting to, pay for a solution for?
Right. And how long do they need that solution for?
Correct.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's my advice for anybody out there who is trying to grow, expand, or start a new business is, what problem are you solving? And can you consistently solve it as a problem that people are going to pay you to solve? And, I see that's where a lot of businesses seem to fail, is they think they got a good idea, but they haven't really done research on the client yet. Who are you serving, and is their problem fixable, or are you able to solve it for them?
I feel like sometimes it's just to fix your problem.
Right. Yeah. So. Well, and then, the next question is, what's the barrier to entry? So what prevents, your neighbor across the street that has the same skill set as you? What prevents him from doing it also? And then his neighbor, and then his brother-in-law. Because especially in Central Illinois, if somebody knows that you're successful doing that business and they can get into that business, then they're going to try it, right? They
absolutely,
and that's what that's my problem with social media is, you put it out there like, hey, look at us, we're successful, and then everybody's like, well, shit, why am I not doing that?
Exactly. Absolutely. Well, if Garrett can do it, I can do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's cool. So before we started recording, Josh, you mentioned a little bit about real estate as well. Tell us just real quick about your real estate business and maybe why you started, and just give us a little explanation there.
That's just another thing. I've been an entrepreneur since I was, 16 years old, selling T-shirts in the, high school hallways. So whatever I could do to make an extra buck, and that's just kind of happened organically. Really started buying real estate for the business. Then had employees that were looking for places to rent. So then we started, buy a house here, buy a house there. And then my wife kind of got into it, and she gets excited about it. So we've got a handful of commercial properties, a couple handfuls of residential properties, some farm ground. So just kind of got lines in a few different ponds there, seeing what kicks off. So not really, it's not something we spend a lot of time on, but it's I think real estate, especially in Central Illinois, in Sullivan, where I live, it's a safe investment. I can go to lunch and drive by all the rental properties and make sure nothing's burnt down. So it's just a sideline thing to keep us busy, and hopefully one day sell and hand it to my daughter or whatever she wants to do with it. So.
Absolutely.
I think it's a great idea. And I think Derek and I can speak for you. We see it with entrepreneurs and business owners. A good portion of them dabble in real estate, whether it's a short-term rental, long-term rentals, things of that nature. So it's definitely a great idea.
Yeah. Now, did you do any research as far as reading books or any educational things to learn about real estate, or just jump in and
no?
start?
Yeah, just jumped in. Yeah, I listened to I listen to podcasts and YouTube videos and all the. I can remember when I was probably 20 years old, I had the CD set that was invest in real estate with no money down. Probably paid $300 for that, back in the day. Never did anything with it, but always motivated to do stuff like that. So it becomes a little easier when you have a little bit of money. So
absolutely.
So what podcasts do you listen to, if you're still listening to them anyway? What podcasts do you recommend?
I don't listen to him all the time now. There's a guy from like St. Louis who's kind of crazy.
Priscilla.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I listen to him. Like I said, I listen to just whatever strikes me. I don't follow anybody necessarily, but
Right. And of course you listen all the time to the Central Illinois Business Leader
yeah,
podcast,
for sure.
right?
This one has been instrumental for sure.
It's changed your life. We hear it all
Absolutely.
the time, right?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
Derek?
Yeah, exactly.
We keep prompting
Priscilla's
for reviews, right? So
yeah, Priscilla's right. We're right below him on the rating list, so we're catching him.
I'm pretty sure he reached out to us and to our PR and agent, right, Derek, to get us on his show just to hear how things were
exactly. Yeah, a lot of people that have talked about real estate on this podcast have mentioned reading Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
And that's one that Garrett and I have read. And you go to school and you just kind of, and I'm not here to knock any school system. I'm not getting into that right now. But like
that's a different podcast.
Exactly. So like you learn, like they ask, what kind of job do you want to do someday? How are you going to get a job and then buy your house, have a family, whatever. And then he flips the script on, well, why would you do it that way and when you can do it this way? And you're like, okay, well, now I see how people are doing it, and that book's pretty popular and it changed my mindset a little bit too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's got a ton of YouTube videos. I watch a ton of his YouTube videos, and you can kind of get down a rabbit hole watching those YouTube videos on some of the guys that have some things to offer and some of the guys that are just
sure
talk a lot, like no offense to any of them, but some of them I think this is more of a show than it is. Like, I don't necessarily need to see you get in your Bentley and tell me how successful you are at real estate. If you're that successful, you probably wouldn't be taking the time to make this video right now.
Right, exactly. No, I agree. He's a guy that I still try to keep up with. He's got it's called the Rich Dad Radio Show, which is like a podcast except a radio show. But I listen to him. He he goes against the grain and makes you think a little bit. So
which is what we all need.
Yep. Well, sure. Josh, believe it or not, we're getting close to the 30-minute mark. Before we jump off of here, is there anything that you would like to tell our listeners in Central Illinois more about Bruder Tank? Anything happening in the future? Any words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
I mean, we're constantly expanding. I've got another expansion that we're getting ready to start, hopefully this month. So we've got a lot of big things happening. Hopefully we're knocking on the door of 150 employees here in the next 24 months. So
awesome.
we're if you're looking for work, you want to be a welder or being involved in any kind of manufacturing at all, we're looking for good people that want to grow their career with us.
Awesome.
Any advice for any young entrepreneurs out there?
The harder you work, the luckier you get. A lot of people hear that. And I talk to guys come in my office all the time that they work here that want to go do this or do that. And I always tell them, go for it. Keep your day job as long as you can keep it. I hear, people come in, I don't want to quit my job because I want to start this. Well, you don't need to quit your job.
Yeah.
What you need to do is prove to yourself that you can work 100 hours a week by doing your business and your job, because that's how many hours you're going to have to work to make that business successful when you get out on your own. And, truthfully, it's been instrumental for me. The harder you work, the luckier you get. So.
Gotcha. My new slogan. I like it.
Yep, absolutely. So if there's anyone out there that does, might be interested in working for Bruder Tank or learning more about Bruder Tank, what's the best way to contact you or to learn more?
So just go to our website, brudertank.com. We've got a website inquiry on there. We get a lot of postings on there. I think we've got, I think Keith's got some things on Indeed, different job postings. or you're always, it's always welcome to come by. More often than not, somebody comes by to grab an application. If I can hear some reverence in their voice, I'll usually pull them in and do an interview before they even fill out the paperwork. So
nice. There you go. It's perks of a small town right there.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. Is there any way, if someone has questions for you, Josh, are you comfortable giving like an email address they can ask you questions?
Sure. Yeah. So josh@brudertank.com.
Easy enough. Josh@brudertank.com.
Yeah.
Well, for all you listeners out there, make sure you're subscribing to the CIBL podcast on your favorite podcast platform. You can also find us on social media, mainly LinkedIn and Facebook. You can find Garrett and I there personally as well. Until next time, Josh, you've officially been civilized. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL Podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.
What's up, Central Illinois business owners? We know that insurance and employee benefits are one of the most expensive, confusing, and frustrating hurdles that you face in your business today. Garrett and I work with Central Illinois businesses to create insurance and risk management programs and employee benefit solutions that reduce risk, enhance your business, and maximize your profitability. Head to CIBLinsurance.com to learn more about insurance solutions that are specifically designed for your Central Illinois businesses and to watch our educational videos about work comp, employee health insurance, commercial insurance, and other insurance products to help your business go to the next level. Go to CIBLinsurance.com. We'll see you there.